Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into the wild and wonderfully weird world of Escape from Duckov, a PvE survival RPG where ducks rule the world and you're just trying to stay alive. Imagine Escape from Tarkov, but instead of soldiers with assault rifles, you've got ducks with, well, still assault rifles, but also a sense of humor. It's bizarre, chaotic, and, honestly, kind of brilliant. The best part? We're testing it on a low-end PC with an i3 processor and no dedicated graphics card. So if you're rocking a modest setup, stay tuned. This one might just surprise you. I kept the resolution at 1080p and turned off most of the extra effects, shadows, reflections, anti-aliasing, everything. FSR was set to balanced, which gives a nice mix of sharpness and speed. With these settings, the game ran mostly around 50+ FPS, dipping occasionally into the mid-40s during heavy action or dense areas. It's not buttery smooth like a high-end rig, but for an integrated GPU setup, that's pretty solid. The game loads fairly quickly too, though there's a short hiccup when entering new zones. Visually, it's simple but colorful. You won't be stopping to admire the reflections in puddles, but you'll still appreciate the stylized art that fits perfectly with the game's odd sense of humor. If you prefer smoother performance, you can drop the resolution to 900p or 720p and easily get over 60 FPS. Overall, Duckov handles low-end hardware with surprising grace. The ducks might be aggressive, but the frame rate stays polite. Now, let's talk about the gameplay, and this is where Escape from Duckov really spreads its wings. It's a top-down survival shooter set in a world where ducks have clearly had enough of pawns and breadcrumbs. Instead, they've built their own gritty post-apocalyptic society where survival, scavenging, and strategy rule the roost. The concept alone is funny, but once you start playing, it quickly becomes clear that this is more than a meme game. It's an addictive, surprisingly deep survival experience. The first few hours feel tense and grounded, almost like a stealth simulator. You start with basic gear, sneaking through dark alleys, broken warehouses, and marshy ruins, while avoiding patrols of hostile ducks. Ammo is scarce. Every bullet counts, and even a small mistake can cost you all your loot. That first successful extraction, when you barely escape a shootout, hard pounding, carrying a backpack full of resources, feels like pure victory. It captures that same adrenaline rush you'd expect from heavier games like Escape from Tarkov, but with the quirky charm of a cartoon gone rogue. Then the pace picks up. Once you've upgraded your base a little and crafted some better weapons, the game shifts gears. It becomes more action-packed, something closer to Hotline Miami meets Don't Starve. You dive into raids, take down rival duck factions, and loot everything that isn't nailed down. The gunplay feels great, sharp, responsive, and weighty, despite the top-down perspective. Each weapon type has its own rhythm. Shotguns feel brutal at close range, pistols are quick and snappy, and rifles give that clean precision satisfaction. Explosives, meanwhile, are pure chaos, fun to use but risky on a low-end PC because that's when your frame rate decides to test your patience. One of the coolest things about the game is how it layers progression. It's not just level up and shoot better. You've got multiple intertwined systems working together, upgrading your base to unlock new crafting options, improving your gear stats, building fishing spots for food and trade, and recruiting NPCs who add buffs or services to your hideout. Every upgrade feels tangible. When you improve your shelter or forge a new weapon mod, you actually feel more capable in the next raid. There's a rhythm of tension and reward that makes you keep coming back for just one more run. And it's not all gunfire and scavenging. There's a surprisingly cozy layer to it too. Between raids, you can fish, cook, or trade with friendly ducks. It gives the game a nice contrast between high-intensity missions and quiet downtime. These moments of peace make Duckov feel like an actual world. Weird, yes, but alive and full of character. Performance-wise, the gameplay holds up well even on a low-end machine. During intense fights with multiple enemies and explosions, you'll notice small frame drops, dipping to around 45 FPS, but it's never unplayable. For the most part, it stays steady in the 50 to 55 range. The camera is smooth and responsive, the aiming feels natural with mouse or controller, and the controls are snappy. Input lag is minimal even at low settings, which is impressive for a setup with no GPU. It's one of those rare games that manages to stay fun even when your system is sweating a bit. Combat encounters are well balanced too. Enemies aren't just brainless targets, they react to noise, flank, and sometimes retreat to regroup. On Survivor difficulty, every fight feels dangerous but fair. You'll die if you rush in, but patient players who scout, plan, and manage resources are rewarded. That mix of danger and reward keeps you hooked. And the play game also offers custom difficulty options, so if you want to tone things down or crank them up to nightmare levels, you can tweak enemy health, aggression, and loot rates however you want. The humor also deserves credit. It never takes itself too seriously. The dialogue, the item descriptions, even the sound design all have a quirky wink to the player. You might find a piece of loot called duct tape, or an NPC shouting absurdly dramatic one-liners as they charge into battle. It's silly, yes, but it works. It keeps the mood light even when things get tough, and that combination of tension and comedy gives the game a unique personality you won't find elsewhere. Now, after several hours of gameplay, you might start to notice a bit of repetition. The loop, enter, scavenge, shoot, extract, can start to feel familiar. But that's true of most extraction games. The good news is that Duckov keeps things fresh with frequent new unlocks, updated maps, and the satisfaction of seeing your base evolve over time. Even if the core loop stays the same, your options expand with every run, and that's what keeps it engaging long-term. In short, Escape from Duckov takes a ridiculous idea, ducks with guns, and somehow turns it into a serious skill-based survival shooter. It's fast, smart, weirdly addictive, and surprisingly deep. Whether you're sneaking through the mud, outsmarting enemy squads, or sprinting for extraction with a backpack full of loot, every moment feels tense and rewarding. And when you remember it's all happening on an i3 without a graphics card, that's when it becomes even more impressive. To sum it all up, Escape from Duckov is an odd little gem that manages to combine survival tension with absurd humor, all while running impressively well on low-end hardware. On an i3 with no graphics card, it performs far better than expected. Stable frame rates, manageable loading times, and a consistent gameplay experience that doesn't feel compromised. It's fun, it's strange, and it's surprisingly polished for an indie title. Sure, it's not a visual powerhouse, and the gameplay loop might start to feel familiar after a while, but if you're looking for a lightweight, fast-paced, duck-filled shooter that runs on modest specs, this one's totally worth your time. For me, it's easily worth the price, and a solid recommendation for low-end gamers who enjoy quirky survival shooters. And that's it for today's gameplay review. If you enjoyed watching Escape from Duckov in action on a low-end PC, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps the channel. Subscribe if you want to see more low-end performance tests, and let me know in the comments which game you want to see next. Until next time, keep your frame rate high, your expectations low, and remember, never underestimate a duck with a shotgun. See you in the next video.